everyone. It is your favorite political innovator here, David Washington, with another episode of Battlefield Correspondent. This is going to be a little bit lengthy because I experienced an event this past Friday. Today is what, the 28th of June, and it was a community event that was being held in the neighborhood of College Park to discuss homelessness. I believe the organization YIMBY, Yes in My Backyard, was a co-sponsor with a homelessness advocacy group. The event, unfortunately, was poorly organized, and you really didn't get a chance to go through the whole program because there were so many candidates who showed up. It would have been better if you just took candidates that were involved in the county commission races, the county mayor race, and the county commissioner races, and have them discuss this matter first and plan other days for other candidates for like state office. It was just what, 20, 21, 22, 23, 25 candidates that appeared in front of this group of politicals, a lot of familiar faces, and also campaign operatives. So it wasn't really public forward. Did I just snort? Anyway, I have to break down the type of candidate that we were exposed to during this event. And let's start with the easy group, the no-shows. Nothing against that. You know, folks who didn't show up, candidates who didn't show up, you really didn't miss anything. Maybe an opportunity to show up on someone's Facebook page, but that's about it. Let's get more into the folks who actually showed up. The next group of candidates I want to talk about are the political inexperienced and ill prepared. Okay, all right. You could tell which candidates were new to this process, new to running to office. You could tell which candidates were actually prepared to have a discussion beyond the talking points. And you could tell the difference between the ones who are very politically savvy and enjoy hearing themselves talk versus the ones who just wanted to address the question and let those who were there in the room and those who will see the video understand their point of view. It was a lot of agreement, very little deviation from the pat answer. The politically new and ill-prepared and unfortunately irrelevant were those individuals who were basing their comments in a lot of feelings. And I wanted, as a political professional, expert in this field for over 35 years, no one cares that you were raised by a single mother. That is a worn out trope. No one cares about your struggle. Again, another worn out trope. However, what they, the public, the voters, your opposition really wants to know is how you took those situations in your life and how you build from that, how you became a better individual, a better citizen, and translate that into becoming a better elected official that you hope your constituency will vote you into office. What is on your ledger? What are your accomplishments? Have you been involved in civic engagement, and not just through your laptop behind the laptop or on your phone or on social media? Have you truly engaged beyond the turkey giveaways or the backpack giveaways or protested at a ICE facility? Have you truly taken the volunteer experience at your church, at your sorority or your fraternity, at your chamber, and taken it into the streets? Looking for, I mean, really looking for, instead of those who are disadvantaged, for going out into the public and exposing yourself to that demographic that could use your help, a hand up and not a handout. What is on your ledger? Have you sat at the back of the House or Senate chambers in Tallahassee and passed no legislation? No significant legislation was passed by you in your years of service? Have you sat on the county commission dais and made a motion, and then another, and then second another, and then second another motion, the first to second this, the first to second that? But when it came down to votes that really mattered to your constituencies, kitchen table issues, you dropped the ball. I'm getting into the other levels of the type of candidates that we've seen. So let's get to the newcomers. The newcomers, and I really enjoy listening very intently to these individuals. And I'm talking about folks who never, ever run for office before. And seeing, one, do they bring a professional perspective to running as a candidate for office, and not the activist or advocate point of view? Because being an activist and advocate as an elected official gets you so far. It gets you a lot of social media cred. It gets you the views and the likes. But at the same time, what is on your ledger? What have you accomplished? What have you built? What have you innovated? So for the newcomers to this, hopefully you have some professional guidance. And I'm not saying this because I'm a political advisor and consultant. However, what I saw among the newcomers, it had me concerned about their message, their delivery of that message, and also the reality of how they think that their goals for their community are actually going to get into some type of useful legislation or policy that will benefit the entire community. So there's a lot of newcomers. You can tell the difference between the ones who have no idea versus the ones who got it together and are serious and significant competitors in this 2026 election and beyond. And then we have the political elites. And I'm not saying that, in the typical, when you think of political elites, folks who are just, distanced away from their constituency. I'm talking about the folks who have run for office more than 3 times, who may have held office at least for 1 term. Those folks who have an established following in their community, those folks who know how to speak the message and know how to persuade and have a record to examine. And after a while you get tired of hearing these folks because it's typically the same thing over and over across the board. Getting really tired of some candidates saying, "I'm going to fight, 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 fight," and they've been saying this for in this political elite category, saying this for years and for many election cycles. How many times you're going to continue to fight, 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 and get your ass kicked? I mean, really, how many times? Doing the same thing, expecting a different result is what? So, it was interesting to hear where people were telling the audience about the two questions that they addressed in regards to homelessness. There was a lot of hypocrisy in that group of candidates. There are folks who will give you the impression that they understand the situation of homelessness based on their own prior experience. There was some pushback in regards to the um, property tax reform that will show up on the Florida general election ballot in November. And I wish there was opportunity to ask this question publicly. However, for those individuals who felt so strongly about the ballot initiative, how many of those, and I already know this answer, and I know where they live, but how many of those individuals who own homes would vote for the property tax ballot initiative? And if someone told me if they're running for state representative and they own a home and they will vow to campaign against it, but privately, we damn well know you are not going to leave $2, $3, $4,000 on the table because you think it's a bad idea. Now, the ballot initiative is going to pass, and I challenge anyone who was on that stage to tell me differently. If they own their home, if they have a mortgage on the home that they will homestead, that they will not vote for that initiative. I would love to see it in a public statement. Otherwise, you're a hypocrite if you say differently. So, you know, the forum could have been a lot better. It was a Friday night. At one point, I was like, why am I here? However, in full disclosure, I had two candidates there. And but I'm glad I did go because I had opportunity to talk to people afterwards. Had opportunity to look at the political landscape and just reconfirm some of the biases that I have that are based in fact and logic. And I feel very confident in several things that we're doing here in Jane, Washington. Disappointed and some of the candidates and what I heard and saw, I was expecting a little bit more of a robust conversation. However, at the end of the day, for you, the viewer, the listener, whether you're a political or a candidate or elected or a voter, whether it's here in Central Florida, or nationwide, please set aside the political affiliation, RDI, whatever. Set it aside and have a conversation with yourself, with your family about your kitchen table issues. Take that conversation and independently do your own damn research into every race, every candidate that you must decide on in these primaries and also in the general election. Here in Florida, out-of-state ballots go out July 2nd. A week and a half later, vote by mail ballots go out. Do your research on the individual. We have the means, we have the internet, we have AI. And you'll see the difference between those who say one thing and they show you their lack of accomplishments and their hypocrisy. And there are those who say one thing and they deliver. Start thinking out there. I am David Washington. This is Battlefield Correspondent on the David Washington Show. It's a pretty long one, not usually how it is. However, I'll be making these reports throughout the election cycle, leading up to Election Day and a little bit after in November of 2026. So please, I challenge any candidate for debate in regards to this specific topic, homelessness, and the approach that we've taken here, at least in Central Florida, Orange County, Orlando, that has not been completely successful. We'll see you next time. God bless. I love you. I'm David Washington. We'll see you the next time.